Welcome to episode 126 of the NERO Show. In today's episode,
Cannondale have a new endurance bike, the Synapse, and there are some features here you won't find on any other endurance bike, so we chat through it.
Campagnolo is back with a 13-speed group set that Jesse is stoked about, and Astana XDS. Are they one of the best pro teams in the peloton?
Chris rides Zwift for the first time in his life, and Pro Cycling's rich list. Can you guess which rider is paid the most? We stack them up against each other. All right, let's get into it.
All right, these are the weeks that worry me, Jesse.
Why is that?
These are the weeks we potentially get cancelled.
No, these are the good weeks. These are the best ones.
Because we don't have detailed topics. We just have a lot of things that we want to chat about.
Yes, we do.
And therefore things tend to go rogue quite quickly. But needless to say, we need to start somewhere. So where do you want to start?
Well, we always start with what's new, right?
We do. That's
Equipment
true.
releases, and there actually was one in the last week, and that was the new Cannondale Synapse, which is usually their endurance bike platform, now very much bordering into gravel territory. So I want to go through the features, and maybe you can walk us through some of the features, because there are some very unique aspects of this bike that you won't see on any other bikes, and I want to see what your opinion is of them. First thing, front tire clearance is up to a 48. Rear tire clearance is up to a 42 millimeter wide. As someone who doesn't do gravel, this is now into a territory where I don't know what this can do. If it says up to 35 clearance, I go, yeah, someone wants to run a bit wider still on the road. I understand that. Is this now a gravel bike if it can take a 42 on the rear? What is that in gravel land?
It's fast becoming outdated as I'm going to go race a gravel bike situation. So 45 is the new 40. I would run a 45. I am currently running a 45 and am probably regarded as on the narrower scale of the situation. So to answer your question, as a pure race gravel bike, no.
Okay. That does answer that, because that's when you see these headlines. Oh, it takes a 48 mil tire on the front. I'm going, okay, is this now substituting as someone's actual gravel bike they could race? And you're saying probably not. No. Okay, so very much then we're saying endurance road.
I would say this is actually entering into a totally different category, and I spoiler alert, I like it. But this is not to me the Gran Fondo endurance bike rider. We're going towards the Lockie Morton posters on my bedroom at home. That's on the weekend. I'm going to do a 3-day light bike packing trip with credit cards to insert regional town here and back again.
Right.
That's to me where this is. And this bike attempted to do this in its first iteration 3 or 4 years ago, and it was a basket case. I'm pretty sure we laughed at this bike 3 or 4 years ago when it came out because it was just too commutery. It was very slop, very, bike path to work type thing for what was the Synapse, which was a pretty good endurance bike.
Well, you can tell they're trying to get away from that because they have released a Lab 71 model of this frame, which is basically the S-Works equivalent, which is the super light, higher modulus carbon, lighter version. So they're claiming as well, just all around, if we look at what the updates are, obviously, it's got to be more aero. More aero. Not surprising as well. I mean, the head tube's massive. Down tube is quite deep. So that's probably a claim I wouldn't be surprised by.
But even the fact they're saying that in this release just means that they've totally started from scratch, because that was not a consideration in that first iteration of this bike.
UDH compatible, obviously. It's got to be. It's got the Cannondale Smart Sense system, which is a big battery which is stored in the down tube, and that can power onboard lights, radars, and also, if you have SRAM, your axis shifting group set. Now, I was really trying to find the specific details on how that works in practice, as in, could you theoretically remove the batteries from your SRAM group set, have it plugged into the Smart Sense system, and it then charges it and runs? I think that's what it is. I actually couldn't find details on it. I'm pretty sure that's what it's saying, because the Smart Sense only comes on the SRAM axis equipped bikes. So I'm pretty sure, I could be wrong, that it works like a Shimano internal seat tube battery in that it can run the group set. So as you said, if you're Lockie Morton riding around Australia and you run out of batteries in your on your actual SRAM group set, you can just plug it into this internal huge battery in the frame, and you can run your group set and you run your lights. So that's the Cannondale Smart Sense system. Have you had a look through that? What do you?
I mean, it's amazing what putting something internal will do to the overall aesthetic and landing of this bike, because
the battery is 300 grams though. That's not to sniff at.
But my point being that like that battery was mounted externally on the previous iteration. We laughed at it. We're like, what the fuck is just clunk hanging out there? It was a joke. And now you've gone and put it internally and you've increased its capability. And suddenly I'm sitting here going, whoa, this is revolutionary. What's happened? Basically, all it is just put it inside the frame.
Too. It was that thing that sat down at the bottom bracket.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll dig up us absolutely ripping that bike. But yeah, I would go a step further, Jesse. I see a world.
Are we using the G word?
No, not using
not a game changer.
No, not the GC word.
Okay.
No. If we're all so obsessed, and I don't mind this idea, with safety and keeping a 6.8 kilo weight limit on our race bikes, and we can get bikes much lighter than that. I want to see brands regulated to actually have this type of system on their bike. I don't see any reason why not to. If we can build bikes at that sort of weight limit, I would love to see a quality front and rear light that's really well done, regulated onto a bike. I have no issue with that. But it has to be fucking smick looking.
Yeah. Totally
and this
hidden.
is on the way.
Yeah. It's also got a USB-C output, so you can charge your phone if you're doing that thing. To me, it looks like very much like a bike packing. I haven't done bike packing, so well out of my depth, but looking at that, if I was going to do a 1,000-kilometer round trip in 2 or 3 overnights, I think I would like to have that in my bike. Wouldn't you?
Absolutely.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yep.
So, and remember, that only comes on the SRAM builds. So if you're looking at that bike, I hope you like SRAM, because I think if you're getting that, you want to get that. It's a bit of a future-proofing thing potentially. In that down tube as well, it does also have a standard storage bag alongside the battery too, so you can just store your spares in the down tube. Fender and mudguard mounts, as you'd expect, and the top tube bag mount too. So obviously you're going to have plenty of mounts on a bike like this.
Just a word on the geometry, and I think this is part of a bigger picture in terms of Cannondale trying to nail down a category of rider that this is for and really targeting them. So essentially you're sitting in between, you're in the endurance space. You're not as relaxed as, say, a Roubaix or a Diverge, Specialized Diverge, but I would say that the Defy is probably slightly more aggressive than this. I think in your sizing, potentially about a centimetre and a half.
Yeah, so compared to the Super 6, the reach is, in my size, the reach is roughly the same. The stack's about a centimetre and a half taller. And remember, the Super 6 is already a fairly relaxed geometry anyway. So, yeah.
The reason I kind of say that is because there's a use case and a scenario for this, right, where you ride with your bags or your light baggage on day 1 of your bike packing trip, or day 2, and you get to your accommodation, and then you've got the second day at your location, and you can leave the bags there, and you can go do a good day road biking that day. Mm-hmm. And so you want the road biking feel back. But then on your return trip, when you put your bags back on, you need that sort of slightly more aggressive setup from better steering, etc. now that you got the bags back on. So I just think the geometry almost gives a nod to really who they're targeting here as that weekend away type bike.
Other thing I like that they've mentioned in this article on the release is proportional response construction.
Wow.
Yeah. Do you like this? Now, they haven't really given details about it, but I like a nod to this, and it's the idea that the carbon layup and the geometry is tuned to each frame size from 44 to 61, which is a bit of a problem in some other brands, like some of the Chinese frames, where they don't seem to really quite get the 58s and the 61s right. where the reach just gets longer, but the stack doesn't quite get high enough. And so you're riding a 58 and suddenly you're all stretched out, but the stack's not getting high. But in the smaller sizes, it works. So again, I don't know the details on exactly what that means, but the fact that there's a nod that they are adjusting the layup and the geometry, depending on the size, you want to know when you're spending this much on a Cannondale, it's just more likely that the ride quality is going to be what you want, even if you're on the very smallest or the very biggest frame. So I like a nod to that in the most general way possible. Another thing I like, I know there's a lot of stuff that I seem to be liking. They've ditched that hologram Cannondale crank thing. It's a standard BSA bottom bracket, and I'm looking through the specs of the builds, and the Shimano come with the Shimano cranks, the SRAM comes with the SRAM cranks. The days of retrofitting their crank on to save 50 grams appear like they're gone. So I like that. I think that's good.
Normally he would do the who's it for, and you'd stack a few bikes up against each other and potentially compare them with each other. But what I honestly do think is Cannondale are trying to do a bit of an iPad here. Like they are trying to create their own little market share with this bike. And I honestly think with the endurance bike space, we're done. It's done. It's done as a generic space now. And you are going to find that space, brands trying to hit different niches of it. So this niche being the short bikepacking trip crowd who probably live in the city, got a bit of money because you're going to need it for this, and are going to do 3 days away with the mates, put some bags on, credit card bikepacking, perfect. This is your bike. Vegan cyclist riding from Canada to Mexico, doing it day by day, trying to do a fast time on it. Here's his bike. Doesn't have to worry about charging shit. Happy days. Whereas a Giant Defy, that's not going to hit this niche. You're trying to hit the niche of actually, you're probably a better person to answer that question, but you get my point, don't you? That endurance bike space then is going to be more muddied, and I think that's good. But the best part of this is it's not talking down to anyone. It's trying to fit the need, I think, of a really specific type of road rider.
Other advantage of being a Cannondale is because it's owned by the same people that own Cervelo, who is then Reserve, the higher spec ones, so the Synapse Carbon 1 with the Ultegra and the Lab 71 with SRAM Red Explore, they both come with Reserve wheels. So you're not having to upgrade the wheel set there. That's the nice wide internal ones with a DT Swiss hub. The lower spec ones, you're coming with a DT Swiss wheel. Getting a Reserve wheel spec, I think, makes that a compelling build. So it's got that going for it.
Well, I had a quick look at Dave Arthur's video on this, and basically the commentary was really around the price.
What is so yeah, well, that's the thing. What's
the Lab 71 in Australia is $20,000. That's
20K Australian dollars is what you pay for S-Works Trek Lab 71. What about lower down? Well, that's a pointless pricing because that's ridiculous money. That's always ridiculous. But what about where you're actually trying to compete on value?
So the Synapse Carbon 1, which is the Ultegra Di2 version.
But then you wouldn't get the Smart Sense.
Don't get the Smart Sense.
Yeah.
So that's Australian dollars 12,000.
I mean, if you compare that to another big brand like the Specialized Roubaix in Australia, it's basically the same price as the Ultegra model of the Specialized, which also comes with pretty decent carbon wheels. That comes with the CL2s, which are 20, I think that's a 25 internal wheel set. I mean, it doesn't look as good, anywhere near as good as the new Cannondale because it's got that Future Shock handlebar. It's up there with all the other not particularly good value main brand bikes. I mean, it's not really much to comment on with the price, is it? If you're looking for value, you go elsewhere.
Yeah. All right, let us know your thoughts, guys. For me, it's a tick, just for a vibe. I like vibe, not talking down, a little bit of value add in terms of tech, but happy to be proved wrong. Now, today's episode is supported by Pillar Performance, the triple magnesium specialists Jesse Coyle. Their mission is to get you to the start line in the best condition over and over.
Yes, so for those that aren't aware, magnesium is hot property at the moment in the sports nutrition industry. So if you have trouble getting to sleep each night, or if you suffer from reduced sleep quality, particularly after your biggest training days, magnesium supplementation can help improve all areas of your sleep by regulating melatonin production and reducing the cramps that can interrupt your sleep quality. And as Chris said, Pillar's Triple Magnesium, it's a 300 milligram blend of absorbable forms of magnesium that tastes great, and safe to know it's also Informed Sport batch tested to be free from banned ingredients. Maybe we need to hit Pillar up for a NERO bundle, because they do bundles on their site, and our bundle would be their creatine and the triple magnesium.
Confirmed.
They don't have that yet. Maybe we need to speak to them. The other bundle is that you can get a bit of a discount on is the Training Essentials bundle. That has the triple magnesium and also the Ultra B Active. So we know vitamin B12 is very important for hemoglobin production and energy. So if you're someone who's looking at maybe taking a B12 supplement, if you're vegetarian perhaps, have a look at the bundle there. You can save about $10 off the retail price when you bundle them together.
So here's your challenge when you are purchasing your Pillar Performance. Use code NERO at checkout. And then when you bundle it with your creatine, in the shipping notes, make sure you put using the NERO bundle just to confuse the living daylights out of the people that are putting that together. All right, so that is code NERO at pillarperformance.shop. And for the North American listeners and viewers, head to thefeed.com/pillar and use code NERO for 15% off. A huge thanks to Pillar Performance for supporting today's episode. Right, scattergun approach to what I've seen so far in the first Grand Tour of the year. I know you have been transfixed, Jesse Coyle. Been up every night, haven't you?
It's not the tour, is it? It's just not the tour.
Staying up
sorry.
every night, watching every last second of it. But, all right, what have we spotted so far? Campy back. 13 speed, the thumb shifter.
They're trying, aren't they?
Jesse, get hyped.
So they ditched the thumb shifter.
Ditched the thumb.
And basically made a really expensive, chunky version of Shimano. And now they go, no. Walk it back. We want the thumb shifter back. Do you want the thumb shifter back, or should they go back to what they transformed to?
Well, hang on. Ease up. Firstly, they didn't try and do a Shimano. They tried to do a SRAM because it was a fully wireless build that they went to.
Okay.
The rear derailleur was laughable at best.
Yep.
Like it's a marine buoy.
Yes.
That thing stuck onto the back of your bike. But do I like the thumb shifter back? Hell yeah.
Yes.
Abso-friggin-lutely. Like I'm certain both of us when that dog of a group was released, sat here and did the we said, that's what we want. We want the machine gun thumb that we all knew and loved from Campy, and we wanted it back. And I'm delighted to hear that they did. I have it on some authority that there's been a bit of a generational shift at the top of the Campy tree.
Wow.
And this is I kind of laugh because the first thing that the generational shift has done is to turn back the clock and bring back the thumb, but good on them. So there's been the little spy photos put up by Cycling News. Mm-hmm. So we're shooting on internet pictures here, but that's always enough for me. It does look as like both the front and rear derailleur have been on a little bit of a diet and lost some weight.
I'm calling fake news. I reckon they've just drilled out bits. It's still just as big as it was.
Still pretty bulbous back there. No two ways about it. They're using the same battery, so it is a fully wireless system. It's a battery in the front derailleur, battery in the rear derailleur. And yeah, look, to be brutally honest, Jesse.
Yes.
If I was going to read news about Campy in 2025, I thought it would be, we've given up, we're done,
we're done.
We're out.
Yeah, we're out. Yeah.
We're up.
Ditch it.
We're done.
No?
So it's not. We're releasing, I should mention it's 13 speed. We've added
13 speed.
We've added a cog.
Okay, we got an extra cog. Okay. Campagnolo Super Record EPS.
The GOAT of electronic
13 speed electronic group set now has a thumb shifters. Is this supposed to be relevant? What is, I don't quite know what my opinion is supposed to be on this group set as a consumer. Is this now actually relevant again, or is there anything else they need to do? I don't really even know what to think of this. Am I supposed to take this seriously?
From a consumer perspective, no. Okay. No, I don't think so.
No.
This is like, Campy would like you to think that this is like Ferrari releasing a new car and us sort of talking hypothetically about what we would do with it and use it and that sort of stuff, because it's not actually realistic in our worlds that this would ever be ridden.
I just don't know how it would ever get there, because to be talking about it as almost like a dream product, like a hypothetical thing, it at least needs to look the part. Whereas it still doesn't have that. So I'm struggling to see what the play is here.
It's completely, you're right. I mean, it's completely irrelevant for a COVID baby. They probably don't even know what we're talking about. I'll be honest, the main reason I'm bringing this up is probably nostalgia. Oh, remember Campy? Remember when we used to ride that stuff and it was really good? Oh, they're still there. That's probably what my chat is on this.
Okay, genuinely then. Let's just say this is kind of just, oh yeah, they brought the thumb shifter back, whatever. Do you see a world in which Campy realistically regain ground in the group set market in 10 years? Or do you really think it's just done?
For those of you who weren't in this room,
I've gone to the toilet, I've had breakfast.
I just sat in stone cold silence for about 45 seconds. Not a word was said. Because I can't answer that question. Okay, so what I was thinking was, yeah, there is a world, Jesse. They're able to spec their group sets on bikes with the connections that they have in Europe, and they remain a viable entity because they're European-based. Then the minute that my brain went that far, I shot to a video of Trace Velo and his 700 Chinese group sets that are an eighth of the price.
Yeah.
And it's like, what are you doing, Chris? This is gone.
Yep. I have to say the exact same thing. I just thought there's going to be 5 Chinese group sets, Magine, L2, Wheeltop. They're going to be spec'd on a mid-level Orbea before this thing makes a return. I honestly think that. I do think it's just done. I don't see the market.
You know what the market
being
is?
Interested in this again.
You know what the market is for this stuff? It's actually China. I would argue that's it's the Chinese domestic market who cashed up. Oh, I'm not putting that local crap on my bike. I'm getting. Have you heard of Campy? Campy was there and that's their market.
It's Italian.
It's Italian. Get it on there.
Yeah.
I honestly reckon that's their future. If not, totally. And it's generational. You'll see 2 or 3 comments under this video now. How dare these people disrespect the heritage of the sport? Guys, come on.
It's kind of funny when you said all the COVID babies won't know what a Campagnolo is. It's funny to think, because to me, I grew up with Campy. And so to think that there are lots of riders now that couldn't name the 3, what are the names of the Campagnolo group sets? Can you do that? Those listening. What's the Giro Ace Ultegra 105 of Campagnolo? Can you name them?
Me?
I reckon there's a lot of people that wouldn't be able to name them.
Well, I know that Record got ditched. So I don't know.
Yeah, it used to be. So I'll spoil it for you. It used to be Super Record, Chorus. Was there one below Chorus?
I think Potenza.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
How many people listening to this, if I say Campagnolo Chorus, have no idea what I'm talking about? I reckon quite a few. 2025. What? Chorus? The fuck's that?
Yeah.
All
All right.
What?
Very good. So I couldn't sell you on that. Couldn't sell you on that being relevant. How about this?
Yep.
Astana XDS are now in the borderline top tier of most desirable team setups.
Okay.
Let me walk you through this.
Let's go.
The XDS aeroframe, I think we can all agree, has performed admirably, if not above expectation. Step down to the Vision wheels that they're running. I haven't seen any testing results on that new wheel, but the specs all line up with what we would like to see. And I think we're on to something there. We are looking at Conti tyres that are dialed in. So a lot of the time they're running the aero front and a TT tyre rear.
Okay.
They've got a new helmet. They have an Oakley sponsorship, Jesse, which might have been a hangover of the Cav situation, but I think that's underrated. Slop sunnies are slop sunnies, and 9 times out of 10, the Oakleys aren't.
But they don't have to use the Oakley helmets, which is good.
They don't have to use
the
Oakley helmets. Correct. And as we've pointed out in the past, the performance side of it off the bike, seems to have now been given a nod to. The time trial bike's fast. Well, fast enough.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so here's where I would rank it then, Jesse. So obviously you got your God tier teams like Jumbo, UAE, Red Bull in God tier with their setups. So the next tier down, you could argue, okay, maybe Ineos.
Right.
But this is where I think Astana XDS might land.
You think it's up there?
I think it's easily comparable, if not superior, to Jayco. And to say that about a team that's running a Chinese domestic frame, I think it's a big statement.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great statement, to be honest.
I think it's just the freedom that gets them there because they don't really seem to be boxed in by much of a sponsorship arrangements. They're on the Contis. They're basically making their own helmets at this stage.
Well, this is where the Dowsett thing comes in.
That's a customization piece anyway. It doesn't necessarily matter what brand you're on, because if you're just going aftermarket brand to make your skin suits anyway, which a lot of them do, then it probably doesn't matter too much what your actual kit brand is. I reckon I mean, I agree with you. I think I'm liking 2025 Dowsett. I reckon he's changed. There was a few years there where he was trying to force his YouTube thing, and
you were all over it.
I really didn't like where he was going. He was like, unbiased review. The Specialized is amazing, and I also am a Specialized ambassador, but it's unbiased. And there was just a weird period where it just wasn't really working for him. Now he's got the gig with Astana. He's full red pill Dowsett. I rate it. He's like, yep, design these helmets. Yeah, they're as good as the rest. They're not amazing, but they're up there. Airflow's good. We had to make a time trial helmet, but we didn't just design it around one person like Jumbo Visma. We've tried to make it fast for everyone. I like I like the new Dowsett. I'm on board. He's putting out some interesting content.
Where's he putting out? I haven't seen any of this.
A lot of it's on Instagram.
Right. So Thighs Club is dead, is it?
I don't know what's... Yeah, they're not on his own channel. It's all on the Astana and Alex Dowsett Instagram. We're showing all the gear, which is good advertising for XDS and XLab because I'm pretty sure they're just making the helmets. But yeah, he's like, seems to be just a little more settled and just calling it as it is, and it's very interesting.
All right, following a little bit on from that, I saw an article on Cycling News which listed the top 10 salaries across the pro cycling spectrum, men's peloton in 2025.
Okay.
I thought this was kind of interesting. So what I was going to do is I am going to name 2 pro cyclists to you, and you are going to tell me who's paid more and who's paid less.
Okay.
Potentially have a guess at the salary. I'd be interested if you had a crack.
Okay, question. Is this the salary just that the teams pay them, or is this total remuneration for the career?
Correct. This is the team's salary. Okay. So this doesn't include, for example, Tadej has his DMT sponsorships, plus his watch brands and his all those bits and pieces.
Gotcha. Okay.
All right. So let's start with this one. Mathieu van der Poel versus Remco Evenepoel.
All right. So I'm gonna try and cheat. I think Remco's paid more because he's backed by Specialized, and I know Van der Poel's an investor in Canyon, so I think he's getting a lot of equity. I think cash, Remco would be paid more.
You're right.
Yeah.
Very well done. It's very close. They're both around the $5 million mark.
But just to clarify, I think Van der Poel currently is worth more.
Oh, I couldn't disagree more.
Okay.
Couldn't disagree.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
You think Remco's worth more than Van der Poel?
Yeah, I would prefer to have Remco and my locked away and under contract. Okay, it's yeah, fair enough. The way I would view it is if I had the contracts, I would prefer Remco's contract.
And that's for demand, you're saying that's worth more because it's okay. I could, yeah.
You know, you look at things like who's going to move more bikes if you're Specialized versus Canyon. I think that's pretty equal. No, I reckon that's pretty equal.
Remco's got 1 million followers on Instagram. Fuck, that's a lot.
Yeah.
How much?
He's got a YouTube channel as well. He's won the Olympics, Jesse. The Olympic Games. Cuts through, I think.
Vanderpool's got 1.3.
Cuts through.
Yeah.
I be interested. I think there's more cut through with Remco in the US because of the Specialized thing. But yeah, that was a good one.
Okay.
They're two very, very, very good ones. Okay. Yeah, I like this. Jonas or Primoz?
Oh, well, Jonas has won the Tour de France. 100%. Jonas has got to be on more than Primoz. Come on.
So they are listed exactly the same. Bit of a trick question.
Oh.
So 4.5 million.
Okay. Seems pretty cheap doing the Tour de France.
That's really cheap, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm not going to get into other sports, but that's like, yeah. So
do you not think, so what did you think? Don't you think Jonas would be worth more because in theory he could win the Tour?
I would have thought Jonas would be on par with Remco price in terms of, you got to also think about the team that he's on. He's there, everything.
Yeah. Yep. Primoz on matching Jonas.
Wow. But that's great news. Can I just say, once again, he is my favourite cyclist. I love everything about Primoz. Just his interviews. I love the way he looks on the bike. Just the fact that he came from being a Hubbard. I just love him so much. If we could ever get an interview with a pro cyclist, and it'd have to be in person, Primoz.
Okay.
I'd travel for a Primoz interview.
Okay.
Absolutely love the man. All right, here we go.
Okay.
This is a cracking one, this one.
Okay.
Tom Pidcock or Wout van Aert?
Oh, come on. Please tell me Pidcock is not on more than Wout van Aert. I'm leaving. If that's true, I'm done. Please. Okay.
So we'll take
Wout van Aert
recommendations
should
for
be
a
on
new...
triple what Pidcock's on. What is Pidcock? Look at go on his pro cycling stats. Pidcock is absolute fake news.
Apply below for a new host of the NERO show, as this is Jesse Coyle's final week. Tom Pidcock, believe it or not,
Don't do it to me.
is earning very similar to Roglic, 4.5 million.
What?
Whereas Wout's on 3.8. See ya. Yeah. Unbelievable, isn't it?
I'm actually angry. For what? What does he do?
Potential,
Gets
mate.
a podium
Potential.
in like a B grade classic.
Yep.
Oh yeah, I'm calling like an Amstel Gold the B grade, but he's not. What?
Yeah.
Who's paying that money?
Personally, I think that, I think you've got that round the wrong way. Well, in a sense, but I just think that's a serious underpayment of Wout, personally. But, yeah, there you go. There is. Yeah.
I think Wout needs to get a new agent. If Pidcock's rolling more cash than Wout, that's someone's getting stitched up there. Am I underselling Pidcock? I mean, I just don't get it. I really don't understand. Is it just because he's British and he's a Red Bull and he's young and he's kind of hot property? It can't be based on actual results, can it?
I think.
Or potential? Do they still think he's got this potential, even though he's kind of proven he just wants to do his own thing?
I think it's also just the English-speaking bias that the brands are willing to bank on because there's the potential of a bigger audience. Just the truth. You know, English-speaking athletes going to potentially pull in a bigger market.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Wild. There is some intricacies to that. So he's on 3.5 million from what's his team?
Q3,
but he also gets another $1 million from Ineos because of the buyout clause. So that sort of bumps him up. But that's what he's earning this year. So yeah, Wout 3.8.
Who do you think should be worth more, Jasper Philipsen or Tom Pidcock?
Well, you kind of spoiled the next one, but yes.
Oh, I haven't even looked at the list.
Yeah.
So is Philipsen in the top 10?
Yes.
Is he on more than Pidcock?
Well, I'm not going to let you answer that because here comes the next one.
Okay. hold that thought.
Actually, no, I'll allow that slide.
Okay.
So we will go into Jasper. So Jasper's at 3.2 million.
Which is less than
Which is
Pidcock.
less than Pidcock and less than Wout.
What? Right.
So
I mean, that to me also doesn't make sense. You've got Philipsen, who's just like you're guaranteed Tour de France stages. Plus, he's like an up and coming, probably classics podium, easy podium in one of the classics. Who will continue to develop?
Do you know how many stages of the Tour Jasper Philipsen has won?
He'd be on 12.
He's on 9 stages.
That's good. That's good bang for your buck for is it Alpecin?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
surprised he can't get more. Anyway, next one. Mads Pedersen.
And Philipsen's not old. He's only 20.
No, he's 27, I think.
Quite young.
Yeah, 27.
Yeah.
Next one. Mads Pedersen or Chris Froome?
Stop. Chris Froome's not in the top 10. You're pulling my leg. Are you joking?
No.
Chris Froome.
Chris Froome.
He's beyond. Okay.
It's
2025.
It's
He's beyond irrelevant as a rider.
Still cashing
He's
them
irrelevant as an entity now. He used to have like 2023, 2024. He had a bit of cachet, you know, fanboyism. Mate, these COVID babies don't know who you are. You're irrelevant. What's he on? More than who? Who was the other person?
I've totally forgotten. Them checks for
this is just coil high pitched segment. Who was the other person? Oh, Mads. Oh.
So Chris Froome,
right.
$3 million.
Okay.
Mads Pedersen, 2.8.
Okay. Right.
Yep.
So
there you go. Froomey.
So Mads is on, and what was Wout on? 3.4.
Who?
Wout van Aert?
He was on 3.8.
3.8. So there's $1 million between Mads and Wout. Okay. That's, I mean, what do I even say?
No.
Chris Froome. I mean, what are we doing? What team? Oh, Israel.
Israel, yeah. It's just it's just really, really sad from the perspective of what could, even if he still does want to go cash them checks, it's such a pity that he's not doing more in these last 2 years to be.
He's still pretending he's relevant. I'm pretty sure I saw a post he did the other day. He's like, oh, you know, I got this on this. He's still racing. To be honest, I thought he was done. He's still kicking her. He's still giving us the story, like thinking there's a comeback in the legs. Here it was. When was this? Final day of Tour of the Alps. Let's go. So he's still out training. I mean, good on him. He must just love riding his bike at this stage.
He loves cashing them checks, personally.
Happy with the progress and excited to keep building from here towards the summer. Froomey. You reckon he's got a stage in him? You don't think that, you couldn't just jag one from the break?
He's got a stage.
Medium mountain?
He's got a stage of the Tour of Orange in him, I reckon. At this point.
Stayed open. Here he comes.
Get him into the Dinneville handicap out the back door. I honestly reckon.
You reckon you could drop him?
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. Mill and dust him off.
Dust him off.
Yeah.
Christ, what a joke.
Okay.
He'd probably be
gold.
Trying to ride keto or something. That's the 10. So the only one I didn't give you was, no, that was it. That was all 10. Yeah. So the other notable ones, so Adam Yates is on a $2.7 million contract with UAE.
What about all the other UAE guys? There's like 10 UAE guys that could probably be in
so
there.
A lot of them are in that. So one Ayuso's in the 2.2 area. While Almeida is in the similar kind of high twos area. And that drops down to, so Milan. So, someone like a Milan.
Jonathan Milan.
Yep. He's really around $1 million.
Okay.
With bonuses. Not with bonuses, I should say.
Yeah. Does UAE just dominate that kind of
area.
Just under world-class area? They just got them all.
If you then step down, you've got a guy like Biniam Gourmet earning around that too. So that $2 million mark is very much for the second tier teams is where your premium rider is at. So like Lenny Martinez on Bahrain Victorious is on the 2 million. The salaries do kind of interest me. Obviously, when you start comparing it to some of the other sports, I would go as far as saying that they're pretty good now. I think, okay, we're not talking about NBA contracts by any stretch of the imagination, but if you just compare it to rugby league or something in Australia, I realise we're dealing with huge. This is world-class athletes as opposed to some bloke playing on the wing for Parramatta, but these contracts are much higher. There's not many $1 million rugby league players in Australia.
Mm-hmm.
So,
you're saying they've caught up.
Yeah,
they've kind of
I think
gone up
so.
a lot. Yeah.
Now, I don't know where that sits at this is obviously the top tier. I don't know how the curve runs, whether there's guys in the pro peloton earning €40,000 a year. I don't know. But yeah, that top end's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, that's the team salaries. We need some intro music for this. Yep. We do need some intro music. Dog or fast bike, ladies and gentlemen. We will get straight into it because I've been looking forward to putting this one in for a while. It is a Cervelo S5, Jesse Coyle, size 51 with CRW 5060 wheels. Now, we have the Wheel Lab Korea handlebar, 32 in the tops, 38 in the drops.
Nice.
110 stem, Golfer 160, 140 rotors, Dura Ace 5236, Allele 165 crank arms, Garmin Rally pedals. I'm going to follow up on that. Garmin Rally pedals, Physique saddle, 28mm GP 5000s. Jesse Coyle.
Yep. Fast bike. I think this is what your bike should be or could be.
Mm-hmm.
Narrower bars. I like it. You're tucked in. Lighter wheels. Lighter cranks. This is probably sitting at, with pedals, this is probably 7. Probably 7, maybe 7.1.
It's 7.1.
There you
Confirmed.
go. Well, that was a good guess. So stripping some weight in the rotors, in the crank arms, and then potentially the handlebars are also lighter. Yeah, I like this. I think this is okay. You might not like it because you're just obsessed with the reserves. But for certain situations, I think this makes the Cervelo S5 a nice mixed terrain, accelerates well, club ride package. I think good upgrades for the right person. So I'm going fast. What do you think?
Oh, I think it's a fast bike, and it's the reason I put it in because this is. I thought this was kind of where you were going with the narrative and the chat about what you wanted me to do with the bike and how I should pimp out the bike. Mm-hmm. So big shout to Jet for sending this one on to me. I think this is an absolute rocket ship. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. The handlebars these aren't the ones that get spliced. These are the ones that you actually you buy proprietary and send them out.
Yeah,
it's a big thing happening now.
I'm not kidding. I can think of 4 different brands that are selling Cervelo S5 handlebars. Yep. This is Wheel Lab. There was CRW looked like they were coming out with ones. There's a shop in Sydney, Ollie. He does ones with a custom guy who does them.
The other one is the other handlebar company. Them.
EXS. EXS are doing them.
EXS.
I mean, that's how popular Cervelo S5 is. Is that you've got all these other brands doing custom handlebars for it.
Well, it's my only criticism of the bike. They just need to come in. Yeah. So, just quickly, Garmin Rally pedals.
Yeah. Why do we keep
shitting on them?
Can you clarify? I actually don't know. One of the things I say because I think SEO
are
better.
I've had experience. Well, there's that. We start with that.
Okay.
Because there's no reason to get Garmin Rally pedals because there's already a pedal brand that have just nailed pedal power. So that's to start with, and they're cheaper. The second is my bias. I've used the Vector 2s and the 3s in the past, and they were dog shit in temperature changes. So that's always just been how it's sat with me. So that's why I shit on them.
Okay.
Just put Asiomas on your bike. Right, so we confirmed fast bike?
Yep, give it.
It's been a while since we had a fast bike, Jesse.
Yeah.
All right. Will that continue? We have a Dog 2, which is a Cannondale Super 6, 58 centimetre frame. Fast Sports 2025 C Series 60mm wheels with 30mm GP 5000s, 11-speed Ultegra Di2, 165mm cranks with the Supreme Goat Favero Asioma Duo pedals, Stella Italia SLR boost, 40 centimeter bars, 100 centimeter stem, 3.5 centimeters spacers to give it some stack height as a slammed Morpheus bike.
Analyzing data. Oh, I'm stuck on this one. Can I just talk you through it?
Mm-hmm.
I like the wheels. Wheels are good. 24 internals, steel spokes, about 1,400 grams. Nice. 11-speed Ortegra. Good. 165s with Asiomas. When Cannondale updated the Super 6, from all accounts, the new Super 6 was a big upgrade from the old one. Faster, geometry was good, ride quality was good. And so even though there's nothing particularly egregious on this build, given that the new one was actually an improvement, I just can't give the old version fast bike. That's not always the case though, because for example, on the Trek Madone, I'd give the old Madone, if it was a similar build, fast bike. The new one, I wouldn't. I think in this case, I can't give the old model fast bike. I think when that new one exists and someone rolls past you on it, you go, oh, I wish I was on the new one. So I'm going to throw balls in your court to potentially veto.
Here's the thing, Jesse. And this is the crux of this.
Mm.
You take those wheels off, that is immediately a dog. Immediately a dog.
Mm.
You put some Mavics on there.
Oh. Yeah.
Slopfest.
Mm.
So with that in mind, this, ladies and gentlemen, is a dog. There is no hope for this bike. I appreciate that once again we're trying to give a nod to the new. We're trying to sneak it past Jesse and Chris with some nice wide rim internals and some tubeless tires, and a little bit of stack height. They're going to sneak that past us. Well, I see you. I see what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
That's a 229 at best. Swap and turns. You're pushing out extra watts. Plus, you got that stupid proprietary crankset that we talked about earlier. Yeah, no, I unfortunately, this is straight in the kennel.
Yeah,
that is a dog. Moving on to number 3, Jesse Coyle, a 2021 Argon 18 nitrogen disc, size medium, the last aero bike of the Argon 18 Zwifter. Ultegra 11-speed mechanical, Magine power meter and crank arm 170mm crank length, 5236 chain with 1130. We've got some Hunt carbon 50s, 22 internal with 30 external. They sit just below 1,500 grams, steel spokes. Tyres are Vittoria Corsas. He's been running TPUs. Whole bike as seen with pedals, 2 bottle cages and Wahoo front mount, weighs in at 7.6 kilos. Now, before you say anything on this, Jesse, this entry came with a whole spiel.
Yeah. I might need a bit of love.
Well,
anything to get the juices flowing.
All I will
on
say
this
is
thing?
anytime you include a spiel with your entry, you know what the answer is going to be.
He knows because he's looking out and he knows I'm going to send this to these two, and he knows he's got to have to.
Well, here's his sales pitch.
Shine it up.
Here's
lube
his
it up.
sales pitch. Yeah. All right. Everything could use an upgrade, but the bike's been super reliable, Jesse. From grand fondos to crits, it's helped me compete at tons of events and has never had any issues, Jesse. Apart from finishing dead last most of the time.
I'm sorry. That, ladies and gentlemen, is a dog of a bike. You could get a 2025 bike that's lighter, faster, more comfortable, flawless electronic shifting, wider tires, with deeper wheels, it's still lighter, and could basically improve this bike in every way. And that means I think this is just a dog. External cables. I don't like the look of it personally. I think it looks like something from 2006. It shouldn't have disc brakes. I think this is just this is one of the generations of frame where they just went, everyone wants discs, but we can't be bothered designing a whole new frame, so we'll just sort of bolt discs onto our current frame and just make the tubes a bit thicker so it can handle the force. Just a dog. It's just a dog. You get on an SL8 with some nice wide wheels, you won't know yourself.
This is why this segment was invented. Bikes like this, because the sad thing is that this owner thinks they're onto something here. They're really not. And you hit the nail on the head, Jesse. This is that generation of bikes like that XR3 that I rode that was like, we've got a rim version and a disc version. We'll just put disc calipers on one and it'll be fine. No, look at that fork. You are getting everything coming up through the top of that bike.
I'm looking more at that seat tube.
Oh, it's just an absolute pain. And it's not going to be fast either. There's nothing fast about the front end of that bike. Look, I think the best part about talking this out between friends here is that you knew the answer to this and you knew an upgrade's coming. Come on, just do it.
Yeah.
Just look at that road out the front there. That wants to be just ridden, but not on that. So keep the power meter, ditch the rest, and just hunts. Your thoughts on hunts? If you got a, I don't know. Maybe it's a UK thing. It probably is a UK thing. They always seem to get specced on bikes. I see a lot of them in the entries week to week. We just don't see much of them. Lots of hunts, yeah.
I think because they're cheaper than the Western brands, but for the person that's a bit scared of the Chinese brands, they go, I'll go the hunt.
I think, yeah. So I don't know enough about them. I think certain wheel builders like them. I know like DRC likes them. Good solid wheels, well built, good tolerances.
Good nipples on them.
Good nipples.
Great nipples.
But yeah, as far as a performance wheel and the specs wise, we can do better.
Yep. Sorry. 1 in 3 this week. But all actually, no, that one wasn't close. But the other, they all had something to offer. Yeah. But it's a high bar.
It's a high bar,
show.
And keep them coming in. DM the NERO Instagram page, and you can also try the email, but that's not tend to be a successful way of doing it. And just one other quick note: if you just buy a Canyon XLX on the website and unbox it and take a photo of it and send it to we're not doing just off the peg, here's my bike. There needs to be some customization, some NERO showness going on there. So yeah, that's that. So I think I've been riding bikes like at least been training. I was talking to Dan about this for around 8 years.
Wow.
Ish.
Veteran.
Veteran.
Yeah.
You know what I'm not a veteran of? Indoor cycling. To the point, Jesse, I had never logged into Zwift.
Wow. Good
in
job.
my life before last week.
No, you did do it. You used to be a full gas.
Yeah, full. I said
ambassador.
Zwift.
Oh, so it's just not Zwift. Okay.
And I used to, so I rode a little bit during the COVID stuff. I rode full gas, but I'd just get on and I'd just ride for a bit and get off.
Yeah.
I certainly never done anything else.
Okay.
And so last week, I tried Zwift for the first time.
Oh, cool. Okay.
And holy shit. It's actually, okay, initially way more, I'm not sure confusing is the right, overwhelming. It's because, don't think, I'm coming in now, I don't know how long that platform's been around. Let's say 10 years, maybe, something like that. But it's fully formed now. Like it's like an ecosystem in itself. And so I'm coming in as a total noob, but knowing, I know my way around UIs and things, and being a serious cyclist, it's like this clash of cultures because I'm trying to work out to get what I need out of the platform and be quite sort of direct about it, but I have no idea. And so I thought I'd just share with you what it was actually like for someone to come into Zwift for the first time.
I'm with you. I think I said this to you. I think you're going to find it overwhelming because then you've got the app that goes along with Zwift that's then got all these settings in it. Can we just start with what's the setup like? What's the room situation?
Okay, so this has been one of the reasons it's taken me so long to get into this because I never had a space. Basically, the kids now have a playroom, which is now the kids' playroom and Dad's indoor training area.
Okay.
But so the setup is Zwift bike, like iPad out in front because it comes with the thing to put the iPad out in front.
Mm-hmm.
Then iPad to the side for secondary stuff. Fan on the floor. Fan here, blowing top end
To your face. Yep.
to my face.
Okay.
So that's essentially the setup.
Right.
Okay.
Are you leaving this set up? This gets to stay
This
out?
stays. Well, we've negotiated
okay.
a sort of temporary solution at the moment. But yes,
That's pretty good.
it stays. It is.
Yep.
It's very, very good.
Yeah.
So I've got the two monitor situation. Can I just quickly talk about actually? So I wanted to two things I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Start off by just riding quality zone 2.
Yep.
I want to get on to a 2-hour zone 2 ride.
Mm-hmm.
And so I go on, log in, the bike pairs up to all these. That's fine. But then then you get like, oh, what world do I want to ride in? I don't know.
Choose a route.
And then, it's telling me like, oh, this has got that much elevation. This is that long. This got this on it. I'm like, well, do I have to choose which? Like, because I want to ride zone 2. Is this like I need to think about where the hills are and which is the flat road? And then there's one course like 12 kilometers long, and I'm like, oh, so that means I finished 12 kilometers and that's the end of my ride. I'm like, I didn't realize you just keep riding around and around.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so initially it's like, because there's all these worlds, I'm not sure what's relevant for what I wanted to do. So I get in, I start riding. And I'm like, okay, I'm riding zone 2 now. That's good. I'm happy. But I want to ride erg mode.
So right, yeah, you want to do a workout.
But see, I didn't know that. I thought I could log in,
right?
Go, I'm going to ride 235 watts for 2 hours. Button press, go. No, I can't do
You'd
that.
have to build the workout in the workout builder on Zwift. Yeah. Okay, right. So you're in there going, where's my 200 watt button? You boomer.
Where's my 200 watt button? Now, the bike, like the Zwift bike, has, like, I don't even have to touch the screen. Like, I've got all the bits down here, so it's great. I can do that stuff. But there's, like you said, so then I have to back out of it. I'm like, build a workout. Right. Now, that's fine. I'm okay with that now. I'm all right. Okay, I can build the workout. All good. Happy days. So I log in, and then I can settle on erg mode. I move that screen over to here. So that is what I wanted. I just wanted. That's why I watched a bit of the Giro, because then the Giro plucks down here, and then you think, oh, happy days. All good. We're riding. So we've ticked that box. Next up, I wanted to try an interval session. And this is, I've never ridden an interval on an indoor trainer in my life. Fact. Never done it. So I didn't really know what to do. So I have a workout that I was prescribed to do, essentially a VO2 workout from Training Peaks. Accounts are linked, happy days, plonks into my schedule when I logged in. All right, all good. Again, so I'm thinking I've got these routes that I've got to do, right? Now, this workout, I didn't want to do erg mode because it was a VO2 session. I thought that would just be
good choice.
Recipe for disaster. And so I'm like, so now do I have to choose, because there's like out the Zwift and I see these people doing these things online. I'm like, oh, do I have to choose like a route that has a climb on it, because that's what I would normally do. I don't want to be having to pedal downhill, stuff like that, because, doing 400 watts or something on a downhill, that's going to be impossible. So then I text you. I'm like, have I got to choose the right world here, or how does this work? Subsequently, you come back and...
Well, that's where it does get a little confusing, because you need to select the workout so that the targets all come up on the screen. It's just that you don't want erg mode. So when you pick the workout on Zwift, I think before you actually start the workout, there is an erg mode toggle on or off. But anyway, once you start the workout, I don't know how you do it on the iPad, but at least on the laptop version, if you scroll down, all these blue options to do with the workout come up. And one of them is to toggle erg mode on or off. And if you turn it off, it doesn't matter what course you're riding. It just sets the trainer in flat mode, and you just use your gears.
So that's what I didn't know, because I chose Innsbruck, right, which is this hilly one. And so I'm doing like 150 watt warm up, but I'm on this like 13% gradient. My avatar's like doing it 2 kilometers an hour.
Yeah.
But then when I'm later on, I'm doing the VO2 effort, like it might be downhill, but it doesn't matter.
No.
It's like the same resistance. And so that was great. Great clarity on that. So, and I can totally then see, and that's what I wanted. I wanted the ability to just...
But was that not the longest VO2 max session you've ever done in your life?
I am so proud of myself, Jesse. You've got no idea. Like I am just, it's one of the highlights of my cycling career to have had the mental toughness to have done that.
Do you feel like it was harder? Legitimately harder?
That's not even a debate. So that was my next question, because obviously my power numbers are lower doing it. And
your heart rate was like really high. You usually don't cross the 170s. You're up in the 173s, 174s.
So this was my mindset going into this. People go on and on about on a trainer, especially these sort of efforts, is you can go deeper than you normally would because you don't have to steer. And normally when I finish a VO2 effort, it's the top of Bellevue Hill. And there's like a fucking pedestrian crossing and then like a van can pull out. So I do have to be somewhat aware of the surroundings of me. Whereas with this, I was like, right, I've only got to do 3 of these. Just try and pass out for the last one. Just see what it's like. And I did. And yeah, I don't ever really want to do it ever again, potentially. But it's
it's a weird one. I feel like you can go harder because there's nothing else to focus on, but it's harder to go harder because there's no carrots. There's nothing. Like if you're doing it in Centennial Park, there's people to chase and there's some stimulation. Whereas, yeah, you can suffer on the trainer, but you really have to be motivated to do the session well.
The big thing I found is, so these are 4-minute ones. The first minute when you're doing them outside goes like that. Just like done. Oh, wow, I've already done a minute and a half. Fantastic. On the trainer, it was like the first 30 seconds. I'm like, are you kidding me? I've only done 30 seconds of this. So it was that, yeah, you're right. Like once I could get to 3 minutes and I could get to that last minute, then I was like, right, I'm always, I can get there. But I will say it's slop for your pedaling. Like I had to ride probably 2 minutes out of the saddle to just grind power out. I don't know what that is about, just the way you have to put power out through the pedals when you're sitting down. Like it's just like a all-encompassing resistance that there's just no escaping from. And I don't know,
So you're on the Zwift bike, so that's connected to the kicker core.
Kicker core.
That's...
it's good.
The sad thing is that's pretty good.
I've got the...
Like the flywheel is pretty big on that. It gets worse, trust me. Try doing it on a Tax Neo. Oh, you're in for a... That's even worse.
I've got the dog's bollocks of setups here. Absolute, the dog's nuts. Best in class. So there's no complaints about that. It's just...
I mean, that's what it is.
It's what it is.
You've got a 5 kilo flywheel. You're not flying along at 40K
and I can totally see why that last Zwift Academy thing, like one of the guys, I think the Scottish guy, they forced them to do the efforts in the saddle out in the real world. And the Scottish guy was like, oh shit, I'm just used to doing them out of the saddle. And what's the guy GCN wheel out all the time to do the KOMs?
Andrew Feather.
Andrew Feather. Yeah, he's like the same. He's just sits there out of the saddle the whole time. So, yeah.
Have you tried a race? A Zwift race?
No.
They're fun. I reckon you'd enjoy them.
So, well, this is my...
Because I ditched I ditched the workouts because you can do them on the road. I think, and I think as well, the endurance ride, you can get outside for that. I do think for what you do, getting on for a 45-minute high-intensity race in winter once a week, I reckon that'd be your jam.
No,
I'd like you to try it.
Oh, I will definitely try. But see, I get that from the Tuesday night and the Thursday night stuff. But the racing thing, okay, so this is my next question. So as I said, it's like this fully formed ecosystem now. And my avatar's like a full Hubbard. He's like got box section rims, black shoes, a baggy t-shirt, all this sort of stuff. If I go do a race, like, does that matter?
Yeah, you got to go get your. You got to go earn your drops. So you can go to the Zwift store and buy some nice set of reserves and an S5. It makes a difference.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
That was the whole controversy around people were using this Tron bike in the racing, which was faster, and then they banned the Tron bike. So the equipment makes a difference.
Oh, okay.
In the game dynamics.
In the game dynamic.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It does. Yeah.
And you actually have to go and...
Yeah, you have to go ride the route so you earn your point,
gosh.
you earn your coins, and so you can go and buy upgrades. Yeah. So you're going to have to go and log some Ks.
I need a sugar daddy. And someone to come along and... Yeah, all right. Because I saw that. There's like a garage and stuff. And yeah, all right. Okay. Yeah, maybe. We'll see. But what was the other thing I was going to say with it? Where are you? Because I've always believed that people that train indoors, like especially the masters guys that do it, have like almost an advantage over the rest of us. Because I don't know what it's almost like a vibe thing, but their training is more quality and there's just I don't know. I find it almost quite intimidating sometimes.
Right.
But just from a purely coaching perspective. So let's say, for example, the session that I did yesterday. Okay. Mm-hmm. I could get my heart rate higher because probably the fans and stuff as well weren't as good as being outside. But the power numbers aren't as good. A couple of % off what I would hope to achieve outside. All right. Is that just a pure training inferiority, inferiorness that I've not inferiorness? Good word, Chris.
It's not as good for you because you have access to good places to do the intervals otherwise.
Not a 4-minute effort. See, this is the thing. Like a 4-minute effort is a challenging one for me to do. I wouldn't be able to do
You do it in Centennial Park. I think it's a bit of a correlation. Like the people that are doing this really high quality training indoors are just taking it more seriously than your average club guy who on paper you probably think they're just as fit, but the club guy's just doing kind of random stuff. And the guy that's indoor training is indoor training, but is also just more structured with it and is more outcome orientated and is making sure they're trying to make the steps forward. And that's all encompassing in terms of everything. So they just get more of an outcome. And depending on what city you live in, I mean, the trainer opens up any workout. And so for us, we can kind of get things done. If I'm living in Singapore, if I'm living in Asia somewhere where the roads aren't as safe, there's a lot of people where the trainer opens up a whole bunch of sessions that they just wouldn't be able to get done outdoors. I think for that person, it's a huge gain because you can actually do any training session.
Do you, in general, when you're talking to athletes and stuff about doing training indoors and outdoors, will you say there's a general rule about how much less power you can do inside, or some people more? Is there a general rule?
Well, it's a whole rabbit hole. You have to start to
look at their setups.
Look at what power meter they're using. What's the power source? Is it the same? So you're kind of ticking off all the boxes. How good is the cooling in the room? And you're kind of going through step by step to optimize the indoor setup so it's as comparable to the outside as possible. And then you can look at it fairly. And then for some people it's equal. For some people they're a bit lower indoors. That just is what it is. For a lot of the people, the gain you're getting from indoor training is, you'll take the slightly lower power. It's fine. Like I can already tell with your setup, if you were going to start doing 3 or 4 indoor rides a week, you need to be cooler. Yeah, 100%.
All right, so that's me, Zwifting. If you see me on Whattopia, throw me a kudos. So that's the other thing. You've got people sending me emojis and messages and things as it tricks along. So I don't know. Have I got to reply to these people? How do I reply to these people? I don't know. We'll see.
Instagram provides again, Chris.
You are all over Instagram, aren't you?
Yeah,
you're like the little fiend over there.
See, that's where stuff's happening. You can't just stay on site. If you're on cycling YouTube, you're missing out. So there was a UCI gravel race last weekend, a qualifier for the UCI Gravel World Championships. This one was in the Netherlands. It was called Mali Grav. and an absolutely hilarious video popped up. So what happened was the race started, and then it went into some pretty narrow single track. And because the age group waves are so big, it literally caused a traffic jam lineup where everyone's off their bike, standing in a queue like you're at an amusement park waiting to get on the water slide, and queued back all the way around the course. So I want to read some comments. The video was from inside the age group men, but the problem was they also started, which is bad enough in itself. It's an age group men, but they're still paying people trying to qualify, still taking it seriously. But the pro women started behind the age group men for whatever reason to try and get a fair race. And some of the comments are saying, Puck Moonen commented she was doing the elite women's race. She said, somehow I waited 20 plus minutes. And then by the time she got through, there was a 3-minute gap to most of the other women. So I went training instead. There was no point even racing. Another comment from another woman in the pro field. Unbelievable and incredibly sad. We stood there for 20 minutes. It seems like 20 minutes was about the time you're waiting to continue your ride. The elite women's start was between the 19 to 49 men and the 50 plus men age groups, supposedly for a fairer race. After the stop, that was no longer an option and all motivation was lost. So basically for the elite women, they hit this traffic jam. Some got through and just rode off, and then other people are stuck in the queue, and that's the quality of a UCI accredited race in 2025. How many grams per hour do I need to wait in fucking line?
That's Chris Tolley. He's the US guy who runs the crits. Oh, it's gold. Oh, look, I don't know. I've whinged about, I don't know if I've whinged about it, but we've been following this story for the last 2 years, really. That the UCI slapping their logo on this is, I don't know what the end game is.
And it's not just on the gravel stuff too, because this happens on the road stuff, like Tour of Brisbane, even though it wasn't like this. They're going up curbs, onto bike paths, footpaths, down. It's like not what anyone would expect of a UCI accredited road race. So it's on road and gravel too.
But then it's just not a UCI. This is what, I mean, all this is. I mean, I'm going to 7 this weekend, right? To do 7, right? Which is a UCI qualifier.
Yes.
All that means is that you paid the UCI for their branding. They'll put some fucking logo up to make it look like the look and feel of a UCI event.
Yeah. So you can qualify to go and compete in the highest level age group race of your discipline that you can do in the sport. Totally fair. If you reckon you're I'm a 45-year-old and I think I'm a weapon gravel racer, go qualify, do UCI UCI Gravel Worlds. What's wrong with that? I think that's a really good system. It gives us a competitive outlet. The problem is just when the races are garbage and you got stuff like this. And that's probably why I get so fired up about it, because I'm on board for this. CrossFit, they have the CrossFit regionals, and then they've got CrossFit Games, and you got the High Rocks. Everyone's got all this stuff. And cycling has this, which you might call it fake, and the elitists might call it kind of fake, but it is what it is. It's official, and it is something big for the people doing it. But it falls apart if the quality of the events aren't any good, and that's why it annoys me. Because you're chopping yourself at the knees.
Okay, that's not my point. My point is not it's fake. That's not what I'm saying.
Right.
It's the problem comes down to when the UCI start charging you to basically slap this logo on, and therefore elevates it to what we then think should be it should therefore meet a certain criteria.
Yes.
And my problem is, and this is the same with the discussion that we had about Amy's last year, is just because it has that logo on it doesn't necessarily mean that the race has met a certain criteria. And what I would want to see is that the UCI actually have some responsibility when it comes. Well, responsibility is not the right word, but have some input into what the actual event is. So therefore, you do know that it is accredited to a certain level. Because you're right, this is Mickey Mouse stuff. Absolutely.
I 100% agree with you. And that's almost why I brought this up is the UCI should be there going, does this meet what we think a standard of a UCI accredited race should be? It seems like they don't care because it keeps happening. But at the gravel ones, at the Grand Fondos, create a criteria and they should be there with someone on the ground checking that it all runs smoothly. It's your name that's on it. And if they don't do that and it just continues to be a basket case, it'll lose, because this is relatively new, right? Like these UCI gravel things and UCI Grand Fondos 10 years ago, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, this wasn't a thing when I was getting into the sport. This is still in its infancy, I think. So if they want it to grow, which I think it should, they just need to do a better job of it.
I agree. And so the UCI qualifier, where you go and qualify for your age group in the gravel scene, that event is the same as the Gravel World Championships sort of elite event. So you're all there basically. It's not a grand, do you know what I mean?
Yes,
So it's all aligned as such, as opposed to the sort of the road side of it. So yeah, I'm completely on board with the framework of it, but the delivery of it's the mess. What's your pushback against the Australian gravel scene? What's holding you back from getting involved?
I don't want to race on gravel.
Is there ever a scenario where that would change, something would change your mind? Would there be a push factor, a pull factor, both? Let's say, for example, there was an event down in Barrel. Barrel Classic was cancelled. Done. Finished. It turned into a gravel event. Is that something and it was a UCI UCI gravel qualifier?
No, I don't want to race on gravel. Okay. I can't put it any simpler than that. I don't want the danger of crashing. I don't want to get dropped on a descent by some mountain biker. I don't want to be taking every corner wondering if I'm going to wash out. I want to race my bike on the road. I just don't want to do it.
No, I think that's totally fair. And the only reason I brought this up is, so we have a series of races in Australia now, of which I've done a few and we'll do a few more. But I have this feeling that we are totally missing the point of how to convince Jesse Coyle to do it. Now, maybe you're not the perfect example, but someone who is a metro road cyclist who rides to Waterfall on the week, like road cycling.
Can I add something actually before you drop that? Just to maybe add context. I'd consider doing a gravel ride as a purely recreationally. I could get around that. Just for whatever reason, there's a 200K thing. You just go and do it. But I probably would do a 200K barrel gravel Saturday thing. And there's a photographer, you get some photos, and it's just all good fun. I wouldn't be interested in racing on that course.
I can't believe, I didn't set you up for this, but that's really interesting.
Okay.
Because that's really interesting. Because all these events that have popped up are trying to sell the opposite. I don't know if you see this in your feed or anything, but all those, let's say, for example, and I'm not like trying to call out people who organize things. It's just my take on stuff, right? Whatever, get over it. But something like Seven is trying to promote, the pro field. Like who's signed up for it or who's going to win Seven? What's the podium going to look like? Oh my God, this guy signed up. Wow, incredible. Like this, it's going to be such an awesome field. I'm like, okay, cool. What does that mean to Jesse as an example? Like if you're trying to convince Jesse to go and do this event, that there's some elite mountain biking people turning up. It's just not even in your universe to see that kind of thing. So, and I don't know 100% what the answer is, but I would suggest that trying to make that event seem more relatable to you and something that you can do and that it's not competitive is actually a better selling point.
Making it like a Mudgee Classic?
Making it like a Mudgee Classic, because I just think, right, like all the cycling in Sydney is just blowing up. Like if you see the people riding down to Waterfall on a Saturday, it's just group of 8 after group of 8 after group of 8, just going, it's unbelievable. And, you know, you'll probably have maybe less than 100 people signed up to do like age groups in something like 7. It's just because you're not cutting through to all those people riding down to Waterfall and promoting the elite off-road people that are going to win and lose it is just not even, to say it's not even in the right bubble is an understatement. It's just not in their stratosphere. So to convince those people, I would have thought you need to make it, what's it really like? What is actually involved in doing this? Like, I like these events. I like them, so I'm going to go do them. So obviously I like them. But I just don't think, like, the niche of people that are interested in it at the moment is so small.
But what's it like in the US? Like, for someone that's doing not dirty, Unbound, get rid of the elite guys. Someone that's finishing the second half of the pack. Do they think they're doing a race? Or do they think they're doing what I am imagining myself potentially doing, which is an epic 200-kilometer gravel day? What's the mentality of a second half of the field at Unbound?
I would argue Unbound's not a good example because it's gone beyond just the regular. It's gone into like Ironman sort of levels of like froth.
Okay.
In terms of like where it sits at the moment, because it's just an achievement to do it. I think a better example would be like a run-of-the-mill UCI qualifier in the US gravel event. Maybe not UCI qualifier, but there's, you know, follow Ben Delaney. There seems to be one every second or third day in Colorado.
But do those people think they're racing?
No, see, I don't think they do.
Right, okay.
I think they're purely just out there having fun. Riding around, enjoying the incredible environment and surroundings, very much. I think it's
so. What you're kind of getting at is that you think the events would get more participation if more people were initially seeing them as just come and do a cool ride that's well organized for this date.
Absolutely,
for this day,
pretty much. I think that's the answer. I know. Actually, I don't know if that's the answer. I just know the answer is not the elite end. Like it's just
But
not.
is that the opposite for road? Because it works on road, right? You go like, this is look at this elite field. They're amazing in this road race. Come and do Cat 3.
Yep.
You reckon that works?
100%.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's like any of these things. I think half the problem happens because the people that are involved in that, it's like when we're involved in the NRS, you think that's the world. You know what I mean? Like the people who are involved in this gravel thing, they're so in that space that they think that everyone's in there as well. Like, you know, everyone knows who came 6th at Gravelista. Like, oh yeah, that was John Odom's.
Like, Brendan Davids was
amazing.
there, and we want
incredible.
him to come. Yeah,
because you just think, because that's your mindset. We were in that. That happened to us when we were in the NRS. But
there are. I mean, unfortunately, I can't name them. There are participation gravel events. There was one in Mudgee a month ago.
The dirty something
did one.
Yeah.
There's the Mitch Docker organised one. That Dirty Docker one.
The Thunderbolts one is another one.
They do exist.
Yeah, and again, this is not me trying to shit on the elite racing side of it. I think there's the great thing about gravel is that you actually have the capabilities of running both alongside each other far better than you can on the road. Way better than you can on the road. And I like the fact that the elite stuff exists and want to be involved in it. But in terms of promotion, in terms of getting Jesse Coyle to do it, I don't think that's your answer.
Okay.
That's all.
Sell me on the scenery, hey?
Get some C grade.
I want photos though. Just put it. There's got to be photos.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm not going to go do this beautiful ride and sign up for this race, and then it's just invisible. Yeah. I still think it needs a photographer.
But you have to have
even
Beatty.
Though it's a participation event. Get Beatty there.
Beatty has to be there.
I want banger photos with all. I've spent $20,000 on gravel gear.
Yeah.
Because run what you brung is bullshit. So I've gone and blown the mortgage on all my new Gore-Tex.
Yep.
I want photos of it.
Yep.
I don't care if I'm not racing.
Yep.
I think that needs to be there.
Oh, that's my last little rant on these things. So they make these videos from these events, and they're always
couple of drone shots.
Couple of drone shots of like, Trekkie smashing everyone. And you're like, what is this? Stop it. What's the point of this video? Is it to try and get people to do this event? Or is it to just show your other frothy mates?
You're me ranting about you banging on about club road racing, state level road racing. Where
No, state level's back. State level's, that's back. It's done. We're confirmed. We are on board with state level road racing.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, I don't know. If you're in a marketing department, what's the point of those promotional videos at the end of them? It's like, it's the same video every time, like drone shot at the beginning in dawn, over a mountain. I'm like, I don't want that. I want to know. I want the hardcore, what was involved in C-grader club crit guy. What did he have to do to get around? What was his experience like? I just think that's the step that needs to be addressed.
Mm-hmm. All right.
If not, I don't give a shit.
Okay.
I don't really care. But that's where I'm at with this. All right. Speaking of gravel events, I'm going to go do one this weekend in 7. So if you are over in WA, give me a holler, though it's a gravel event, so no one knows me, so I can get away with that quite happily.
Nice.
Apart from that, Jesse, what are you up to in the next 4 or 5 days? Just bashing out laps?
Yep.
Okay.
Just playing around with my stem.
Oh, yeah. Are you up or down? Or where are you
I flipped it. 150 came. So now I've got the 150 long pointed back up again.
No, we can't do it again.
That's going to be there. Then that's going to be flipped. Anyway, yeah. So it's a STEM universe.
No, not this week. I can't handle more of this chat this week.
I didn't want. It's going on in the background. There is things happening.
There is flippages and floppages.
There is Zone 4 efforts happening.
Zone 4 efforts. All right. I will either see people in WA or in Watopia. We'll see. All right. I'll see you next week.
See you guys.